The human research vessel, AudioBook, drifted slowly toward the quiet blue world of 3. For the humans aboard, it was only another diplomatic mission, another attempt to form peaceful ties with an alien civilization. But for Hale, the youngest linguist on the team, this meeting felt different. He had never stepped onto an alien world before, and he could feel his heartbeat thumping inside his chest like it was trying to run ahead of him. Through the transport window, he saw the landing platform glowing in gentle silver light. Tall figures waited there, diplomats, their skin shimmering as if moonlight lived beneath their surface. Had read about them in reports, calm, logical, emotionally reserved. They rarely showed strong reactions, and they valued dignity above everything else. But none of the reports mentioned her. She stood slightly away from the others, hands folded neatly at her waist, posture straight but quiet. Her skin glowed a soft teal, and patterns of faint silver light moved gently along her cheeks and arms like slow-dancing constellations. Her hair floated in thin strands that caught the light, making it look like drifting nebula dust. Could not help staring. He didn't know her name yet, but something about her presence caught his attention. The way she watched the humans with careful curiosity, the way her eyes softened when she noticed small details around her. She didn't seem rigid like the others. There was a softness in her, a quiet grace that made the air around her feel warmer. When the transport door opened, stepped out behind his team. His boots touched the metal surface and cold alien air brushed against his face. The diplomats bowed slightly. The humans bowed back. Everything was formal, predictable, silent. Then she took a step forward. Her eyes, silver and bright, landed not on the commander, not on the scientists, on him. It startled him so much he almost forgot how to breathe. The commander introduced the humans one by one. Once name was called, he walked forward, trying not to look nervous. He didn't know what happened to him in that moment. Maybe it was the strangeness of the world. Maybe it was her presence. Maybe it was simply the way her calm eyes searched his face as if trying to understand him. But he spoke before he could think. "You look very pretty today." The moment the words left his mouth, he regretted them. What was he thinking? This was a diplomatic mission, a professional environment. He wasn't supposed to compliment an alien diplomat like some nervous teenager. He expected anger or confusion, or at least a cold silence. But her reaction was nothing like he imagined. She froze completely. The patterns on her skin flickered once, then burst into a soft spiral of glowing silver light. Her cheeks brightened in a shade he had never seen on any living creature. She turned her gaze downward, shoulders tensing in a way that looked almost shy. Every around her stared at with wide eyes, as if he had spoken a forbidden phrase aloud. A quiet ripple of surprise traveled through their ranks. Panicked, sorry, I didn't mean, I was just trying to be polite, I mean." But she lifted her head slowly. Her voice, when she spoke, was gentle but trembling like the first note of a fragile melody. "You should not say such words so easily, human." Blinked in confusion. "Did I offend you?" Her glowing markings softened, and her expression warmed in a way he couldn't quite understand. "No," she whispered. "You did not offend me. You simply startled me. Your words hold strong meaning among my people." He opened his mouth to ask more, but the senior emissary stepped forward sharply, studying with seriousness. "To call someone pretty in our culture," the emissary said, "is not casual. It is a declaration of deep respect, a promise of peace, a rare compliment reserved for the most important of relationships." His heart dropped. He had no idea. But when he looked at the alien woman again, he saw something else in her shimmering eyes. The walk back to the temporary human outpost was quieter than anyone expected. The human team whispered among themselves, confused by the reaction. Even the commander kept glancing at as if he had accidentally activated a bomb instead of offering a compliment. But wasn't thinking about the others. He was thinking about her. He replayed the moment again and again in his head. The way her markings had spiraled in bright silver, the way her voice trembled, the way she looked away as if hiding something fragile behind her calm face. He didn't even know her name, yet her reaction felt stuck in his chest like a second heartbeat. Inside the outpost, the commander faced him with arms crossed. "Hail, next time think before speaking. We can't afford cultural misunderstandings." "I know, sir," said softly, "but I swear I didn't mean anything dangerous. It was just an honest compliment." The commander sighed. Society is delicate. That compliment meant something strong to them, something binding. Nodded, feeling guilt twist inside him. The last thing he wanted was to damage the fragile trust between their species. Before anyone could continue, a soft chime echoed through the hall. A message from the delegation appeared on the screen. "Request Linguist Hale, private meeting immediate." Stomach dropped. The commander raised an eyebrow. "Looks like you get to fix the situation. Or destroy it further," thought miserably. He stepped out of the building and found her waiting near a cluster of glowing trees. As the breeze brushed through the tall silver leaves, the light made her skin shimmer even more than before. She wasn't standing with stiff diplomatic posture anymore. Instead, she held her hands close to her chest, fingers curling slightly as if shielding a tremble. She looked nervous. When he approached, she bowed her head slightly. "Hail," she said softly, "thank you for meeting me." His heart jumped at hearing his name in her voice. "Of course, I'm sorry if I made things difficult." "You did not," she said quickly, shaking her head. "The misunderstanding is not your fault. Humans and speak differently, feel differently, understand differently." He relaxed a little. "Then why did everyone look like I set something on fire?" Her cheeks glowed again, faint but noticeable. "Because your compliment carries weight among my people. It is offered rarely, only when someone feels deep respect or admiration." "But I barely know you." Her eyes softened. "That is what makes it surprising and honest." They walked slowly toward a clear pond surrounded by tall, crystal blue grass. Small floating creatures drifted above the surface like living petals. The water shimmered with gentle ripples whenever a breeze passed. She stopped beside it and looked at her reflection. "My name is," she said quietly. "I realized we never exchanged names. That must have felt strange to you." "It's nice to finally know," replied with a small smile. "It suits you." Her fingers twitched and she looked away again. "You do not understand what you triggered. When someone receives a compliment of deep respect, our bodies respond automatically." "You mean the glowing?" asked. "Yes, the glow reveals our emotions. We cannot hide them when something touches us." She pressed a hand against her cheek, embarrassed. "Many go their entire lives without showing such a pattern." His voice softened. "So I caused that." "You awakened something," she whispered. "A reaction that is not common, not easy to experience, not easy to stop." He didn't know what to say. He felt both humbled and unsettled. He had never thought simple human words could hold such meaning to another species. Stepped closer, her voice barely above a breath. "I requested this meeting because I wanted you to know I was not offended. I was moved." Felt warmth spread through him. "I'm glad. I didn't want to hurt you." "You didn't," she said, looking directly into his eyes. Her silver pupils reflected tiny stars. "You reminded me that sincere words can still exist, even between different worlds." A gentle silence stretched between them, peaceful and delicate. Then turned her gaze toward the horizon, her glow softening. "But we must be careful. Others may not understand as easily as we do." Nodded. "Then let's help them." And with that quiet promise, something unspoken but powerful formed between them, something neither of them had expected when the day began. The next morning, the sun rose pale and soft over three, casting silver reflections on the rivers and blue forests. Found himself walking beside through the silver garden. It was a place meant for quiet reflection, where visitors could witness the calm beauty of her world. Trees with leaves like fine glass glimmered in the sunlight, and streams of crystal-clear water flowed in gentle curves around glowing flowers. Walked slowly, her hands folded in front of her head tilted slightly as if listening to the whispers of the wind. Noticed the tiny glow in her skin flickering with each step, responding to her emotions. He wondered what it was like to feel so exposed, even in silence. "You don't have to say anything," said softly, her voice a melody that seemed to mix with the wind. "But I wanted to walk with you, to understand you better." Smiled, feeling a strange warmth. "I'm happy to walk with you, I feel the same." The two of them moved along the curved path that led to a pond reflecting the silver trees like a mirror. Floating above the water were tiny luminous creatures, their shapes like drifting petals. Each movement made ripples in the water, and every ripple carried the light across the pond in dancing waves. Stopped and gazed at the creatures. "Humans are unusual," she said quietly. "You speak without fear, without overthinking. It is difficult to understand sometimes, but also refreshing." Glanced at her. "I think honesty is important. Words can be small, but they can mean a lot." He hesitated, then added, "Like yesterday." She turned to him, silver eyes brightening. "Yes, yesterday." Her markings shimmered with soft spirals that pulsed slowly. "You made me feel something I cannot often show." Felt his chest tighten. He had never imagined that a simple compliment could have such an impact. He wanted to ask what she meant, but he sensed it was not his place to pry. Instead, he simply nodded. "You humans," she said after a long pause, "can change someone with words alone. A single sentence can awaken trust, surprise, even hope." Swallowed, surprised. "You really think so?" She smiled faintly, looking down at the rippling water. "I do, and you did it without knowing. That is rare." For a while they walked in silence. The wind whispered through the crystal leaves, the pond shimmered with floating lights, and realized he felt calmer than he had in years. There was no tension, no need to prove himself. Only the simple presence of another being, someone willing to see him as he was. "I don't understand all your customs," admitted, "and I worry that I could offend someone again without meaning to." His gaze softened. "You have not offended me, and I will teach you slowly, so you may understand the weight of words in our world." Her glow brightened slightly as she spoke, and noticed her fingers twitch in a subtle gesture of nervousness. She seemed to care more than she would admit, more than any other diplomat he had met. "I'm glad," he said. "I want to understand, not just the words but the people behind them." Her eyes met his. "Then you are different from the others. Most humans do not pause to see us." "I want to see you," he said honestly. "All of you, not just the customs." His glow pulsed in gentle spirals, more pronounced this time. She took a deep breath, as if preparing to say something important. "Your presence is comforting. Your words sincere. You have reminded me that not all interactions must be measured or cautious. That trust can be offered, even when the outcome is uncertain." Felt the warmth of her words settle in his chest. "Then I'll continue being honest," he promised. "Even if it's awkward, even if it surprises you." Her lips curved into a faint, genuine smile. "That is why I wanted this walk, to tell you without ceremony that your words matter." They stood for a moment beside the pond, letting the light shimmer around them. Tiny creatures floated above, their glow reflecting in their eyes. It felt as if the garden itself was acknowledging the rare connection forming between them. No formalities, no politics, just two beings, one human, one learning to understand the weight and beauty of honesty. And for that realization was enough to make the whole alien world feel less distant, more like home. By the afternoon, the calm of three began to shift. The Silver Garden walk had ended, but felt the weight of what had happened pressing on him. He tried to focus on his notes, reviewing linguistic patterns and diplomatic phrases, but the memory of S's glowing response kept creeping into his mind. Her soft eyes, her shy smile, the way her markings had spiraled in ways he couldn't forget. Then the first whispers reached him. At the outpost, a few officers gathered in the corner speaking in low, melodic tones. Caught fragments. Human triggered her glow, public display of sincerity. It may cause complications. He frowned, sensing unease. The rumor traveled fast. By evening, the council had convened an emergency session. Some humans gathered outside the main chamber, confused by the urgency. The diplomats were tense, their silver markings flickering faintly. And in the center of it all appeared, her posture rigid but her glowing patterns hesitant, uneven, betraying her worry. Approached her quietly. "I didn't mean to cause any trouble," he said softly. She glanced at him, eyes shimmering but her voice was firm. "It is not your fault, human, but others may not understand your words as I do." "I want to help," said. "Tell me what I can do." Hesitated, then lowered her gaze. "My people fear misunderstanding. They see potential for offense, for breach of tradition. Even a small gesture can ripple outward. They may question me for receiving your compliment. Some may doubt your intentions." Felt a tight knot in his chest. He had not meant to disturb centuries of tradition with a single phrase. He wanted to explain himself to every worried face, but he knew it was impossible. Later, he watched as whispers turned into cautious glances during dinner. Senior diplomats exchanged words in quiet tones that couldn't understand. Even among humans, tension was rising. They sensed the hesitation, the ripple of discomfort spreading through the room. Stood near a glowing tree, separate from everyone, approached her again. "Can they really be upset at me for one sentence?" She shook her head, silver markings dimming slightly. "Not at you personally, but your words, they reveal honesty that is rare, and our people fear what they cannot control. They fear sincerity that does not fit into patterns." Nodded slowly. "Then let's show them there's no harm. Let's show them honesty can be safe." She looked at him, eyes softening. "Perhaps, but it will take time, and courage, not only for you but for me." A few moments later, a senior counselor approached them. "You have received a reaction. This must be addressed. Public perception matters." Took a deep breath. "I understand, but I will speak for the truth, that the human meant no harm, only sincerity." The counselor's expression did not soften. Noticed that in society, rules and perception carried as much weight as truth itself. That night, sat alone in the observation deck, looking at the silver rivers reflecting the twin moons. He wondered how a simple compliment could create such tension. In human terms, it was kindness. In terms, it was a spark that might ignite scrutiny, questions, even blame. Then he thought of her courage, her willingness to face the council, to explain the truth despite the risk. Her glow was softer now, but still present in his mind, a reminder of what honesty could do and how fragile it sometimes was. He realized that understanding another culture meant more than words. It meant patience, empathy, and willingness to navigate unfamiliar rules. And if he wanted to make peace here, he could not run from the ripples his words caused. Exhaled and whispered to himself, almost like a promise, "I will stand by her, no matter what they say, no matter how long it takes." Outside, the winds of three stirred the glowing trees, carrying whispers of both tension and hope across the silver gardens. One human, one both caught in the uncertain space between tradition and honesty, were about to face a challenge neither had expected. The council chamber was colder than expected. High ceilings reflected the soft glow of bioluminescent lanterns, casting silver shadows across the polished floor. Every diplomat's eyes were on him, unblinking, assessing, judging. Even humans stood tensely in the corner, unsure of what to do. Took a deep breath. His heart pounded, but he remembered soft glow and steady words. If she could face this room with courage, then he could speak honestly too. He stepped forward, his boots clicking on the metal floor. "I need to speak," he said firmly. "I know my words yesterday caused confusion, and I want to explain myself clearly." The murmuring quieted immediately. Every turn their gaze toward him, and felt the weight of centuries of tradition pressing against him. "I did not intend to offend anyone," he continued. "I did not attempt manipulation or claim. I did not mean to disrupt your customs. My compliment was a simple statement of truth. I saw Officer working, welcoming us to your world, and I thought she looked genuinely beautiful. I said it because I meant it." A few council members leaned forward, curious. Some glanced at whose glow now pulsed faintly, soft and warm. Swallowed, trying to steady his voice. "I understand that in your culture, words carry weight far beyond what they do for humans. I understand that my words may have startled many, and I apologize for any fear or confusion I caused. But I cannot change that I spoke honestly, and I will not apologize for telling the truth." The room was silent. Even the soft hum of the lighting seemed to pause, stepped slightly closer to him, her markings reflecting quiet pride. "I wish to make one thing clear," said, his voice rising just enough to fill the space without anger. "My compliment was not meant to disrupt, deceive, or impose. It was sincere. If sincerity is dangerous in this room, then I hope you will accept that honesty, even when startling, is not harmful. It is meant to build trust." The elder, the oldest figure in the council, leaned forward. His glowing eyes studied carefully, as if measuring the human's soul. After a long pause, he spoke, his voice low and resonant. "You humans speak differently. Your honesty is unusual. Your words are not weighed against tradition but against feeling. And yet your meaning is clear. You have caused no harm. You have only expressed truth." A ripple of surprise passed through the chamber. Some murmured to one another, reassessing what they had assumed. Others simply watched, silent but thoughtful. His eyes shone brightly now. She stepped closer to and whispered, "You have done something rare today. You spoke truth in a way that even our elders cannot ignore." Glanced at her, relief mixing with awe. "I just told the truth." Her smile was faint, radiant, and real. "Truth has power, human, even when it is simple." The elder spoke again. "If your words are sincere, and if Officer accepts them as such, then we must consider the possibility that sincerity can exist across species, that honesty is not dangerous, even when unexpected." His chest tightened. He had expected confrontation, suspicion, maybe anger, but not understanding. And yet here it was. The council was listening. The tension in the room eased slightly, replaced by cautious curiosity. He stepped back, giving space. She raised her hand slightly, letting her glow pulse in soft spirals of gratitude. It was a quiet acknowledgement that had spoken not only for himself but for her, defending her as well as their connection. Realized in that moment something profound. Words could be small. Words could be simple. But when spoken honestly, even a single sentence could change minds, soften hearts, and open doors. For the first time since arriving on 3, he felt the impossible, the fragile bridge between human and understanding beginning to take form, built on nothing more than truth and courage. And he knew that, with by his side, they could face whatever came next. Together, the morning light spilled across 3 like liquid silver. Woke early, the council's deliberations from the previous night replaying in his mind. He wondered if the peace he had fought to show through honesty would last. Could a single compliment really begin to heal centuries of caution? Could a human's words truly bridge worlds? He found waiting outside the outpost, her glow dim but steady, her eyes reflecting the rising twin moons. The garden was quiet now, calm, as if holding its breath. She didn't speak at first. Instead, she gestured for him to walk with her along a narrow path lined with glowing plants. "You were brave yesterday," she said finally, her voice soft, almost hesitant. "Many would have remained silent. Many would have let tradition dictate their actions instead of facing the truth." Shook his head. "I wasn't brave, I just spoke honestly. That's all I could do." His glow pulsed gently in rhythm with her words. "But honesty here carries consequences. You chose to accept those consequences without fear. That is bravery in my world." They walked in silence for a while, the wind carrying soft whispers from the trees. Then she stopped and turned to him, her silver pupils reflecting his own eyes. "I spoke to the council this morning," she admitted, "telling them your words were sincere, that you did not mean disrespect, that you acted with truth in your heart." Felt a weight lift from him, and "The council listened," she said, her glow brightening in faint spirals of silver. "They debated, questioned, but ultimately they accepted your sincerity. They have decided that your words do not threaten us, that they may even teach us something." His heart leapt, relief, joy, and a strange warmth washed through him. "So the tension is easing." "Yes," said softly, "but not because tradition has changed overnight. It is because they saw that honesty can exist, even between different worlds. You reminded us that sincerity is stronger than fear." He looked at her, feeling the gravity of her words. It wasn't just about a compliment anymore. It was about trust. It was about two species learning to connect, to see each other as beings with hearts and emotions, not just customs and rules. Markings shimmered faintly and she reached out a hand. "I want you to know that I trust you, not because of what you said, but because of what you demonstrated. Courage, respect, honesty." Felt his chest tighten. He hesitated for a moment, then reached for her hand. Their fingers touched lightly, and a gentle warmth pulsed through the connection. The glow in her skin responded, swirling softly as if acknowledging the trust forming between them. He began, unsure if words could capture the depth of what he felt. "I never imagined that speaking honestly could change so much." She shook her head slightly, her voice soft but steady. "Change does not always come through force. Sometimes it comes through courage, even small acts of truth. You have shown me that today." They stood together in the garden, the sunlight reflecting off the silver leaves, the faint glow of skin illuminating the path between them. Realized that, despite all the fear, all the uncertainty, they had begun to build something lasting. A bridge. Not of words alone, but of trust, respect, and shared understanding. A soft wind stirred, carrying the subtle scent of alien flowers, and felt a quiet happiness he had not known before. For the first time, he truly believed that humans and could find common ground. That sincerity, even in a single sentence, could overcome centuries of caution. His gaze met his, and in that moment they didn't need to speak further. Their eyes conveyed what words could not: gratitude, connection, and a shared belief in the power of honesty. Exhaled, a calm certainty settling over him. No matter what challenges remained, he had proven that trust could grow, even in the most unexpected places. And as the sun climbed higher over three, their shared glow, human courage and sincerity, illuminated the path forward, a quiet promise of understanding, respect, and something deeper that neither had yet named. The final council session was quieter than had expected. The chamber, once tense with suspicion, now held a sense of cautious curiosity. The elders, who had initially regarded him with skepticism, watched as approached the dais, her markings glowing softly in a gentle rhythm. Followed, heart pounding, unsure if the outcome would truly honor the honesty he had spoken. But as he caught her eyes, he saw a steady confidence that reassured him. She had chosen to stand with truth, and he realized that their bond had grown stronger because of it. Spoke first. Her voice carried through the chamber, calm yet unwavering. "Honorable counselors, Human Hale's words were sincere. They were not meant to disrupt, deceive, or disrespect. They were honest. And honesty, even when unexpected, is a virtue we cannot ignore." There was a silence that felt heavy at first, then soft murmurs began to ripple through the room. Diplomats exchanged glances, some curious, others contemplative. Slowly, the tension ebbed, replaced by understanding. Stepped forward, taking a deep breath. "I know I am just a human. My customs are different, my words may not always fit your traditions, but I have learned that honesty transcends boundaries. What I said came from respect, admiration, and truth. I did not expect consequences, only the chance to speak sincerely." The elders leaned forward, their silver eyes flickering in thought. Finally, the eldest among them, a tall with markings like cascading starlight, spoke. "Human hail, you have demonstrated courage and sincerity. More importantly, you have reminded us that truth carries its own weight, even across worlds. Your actions, your words, shall not be condemned. They shall be remembered as an example of understanding between species." His chest swelled with relief and awe. He had feared rejection, misunderstanding, even blame, but instead he felt the incredible lightness of acceptance. His eyes found again. She smiled softly, her markings pulsing warmly, almost as if reflecting the pride she felt in his bravery. Then the unexpected happened. His glow intensified in spiraling silver and teal patterns, brighter than he had ever seen. Her breath quickened slightly, and her eyes shone like twin stars. It was more than a response. It was an expression of pure emotion, a culmination of relief, gratitude, and joy. Froze awed. He had never witnessed a reaction so beautiful, so sincere. Her body language, the way her glow danced across her skin, the soft tremor in her hands, all of it spoke volumes without words. "You look incredible," whispered softly, though this time his words felt different. They carried not just admiration, but respect, connection, and the deep bond that had grown between them. Her reaction intensified at his words. She blinked slowly, a shiver running through her as her markings swirled and sparkled. Then, almost shyly, she lowered her gaze, the patterns softening into gentle spirals, like starlight settling after a storm. The council watched in stunned silence, realizing that the human's honesty and this response had created something rare, a moment that transcended protocol, expectations, and caution, a true exchange of hearts and minds. Stepped closer, careful not to overwhelm her. "I didn't know one sentence could mean so much." She lifted her gaze, meeting his eyes with a warmth that made his chest ache. It was never just one sentence. It was honesty, courage, respect. "And you awakened something within me that I have not felt in many cycles." A ripple of quiet awe passed through the council. Even the elders, usually composed and unreadable, seemed moved. Some nodded subtly, acknowledging the profound lesson in simplicity. Sincerity could bridge even the widest divides. Felt a gentle peace settle over him. What had begun as a casual compliment had grown into a bridge between worlds, a testament to the power of truth and emotion. Soft glow reflected in his eyes as she whispered, "Thank you for trusting me, and for trusting honesty." He smiled, his heart full. "And thank you for showing me that words spoken from the heart can change everything." As they stood together, surrounded by silver light and quiet awe, realized that this moment, unexpected, incredible, and deeply emotional, would remain with him forever. A simple compliment had sparked something extraordinary, something neither human nor had seen before. And in that shared glow, the impossible became real. Understanding, trust, and a connection that worlds, all born from honesty. The chamber remained still, the Inhumans alike feeling the profound lesson. One heartfelt truth could create wonder, and sometimes the most incredible reactions began with the simplest words.